Hello, welcome back. Or if you happen to be new, my name is Delian. This is the channel where we explore becoming the main character of our own lives, which I believe we're all here to do. And this is the Enneagram series where I break down every type and what I believe their journey is towards transformation. So if this kind of content is interesting to you, helpful, or valuable in any way, I would love if you would like, subscribe, or comment. I live for the comments. Tell me about your experience with your Enneagram type, what you would nuance with what I'm saying. This is essentially what I feel like a living document of a channel where we get to explore together. So I can't wait to see you in the comments, and let's go ahead and start. And we're here for the sevens. I am so excited about the sevens. I cannot wait to hear what you all think of this. So in case you haven't watched any of the other videos I've done on this, essentially what I'm doing is I'm taking the idea of how we would build a character for a story and looking at how we would answer all of those questions through the lens of the Enneagram type. And also the character that would have to be written in order to go through a transformational arc. Okay, in case you can't see, I've got puppy dog right here. She is passed out, but she may make a little moment happen here. I was looking for a word, it's gone. Anyway, when we write a character, we have to know what they want. Because otherwise, what's happening with the story? That if a main character doesn't have something that they're desiring, it's very flat. So what does an Enneagram 7 want? They want to experience freedom. They want to have possibilities, endless possibilities, and joy, to create a life filled with adventure, meaning, and exciting experiences. This is a great one. I think there's a lot of main characters who are sevens because there is so much momentum and fun behind the natural main want of a seven. But then we also have to make things difficult and throw in a wound. What's messing it all up? And for sevens, the wound is something along the lines of, something I need is missing. And if I stop moving, if I stop going after those horizons, I will have to feel the emptiness underneath. It's like there's a inside of them, there is something dark that they don't want to see. Okay, that's messy, which is great because when we're creating a character who goes through an arc, we need the wound to be a problem because we want the before and after to be distinct. Okay, so what are seven strengths? What is the natural way they move through the world? Their how do I want to say it? The proclivity that they have towards managing and themselves in the world. Well, their intelligence center in the Enneagram world is the head center. They use their mind to strategize, to analyze. They are using their thoughts to be able to calculate all of the circumstances around them, especially in the future. So we can see if we were writing a character what this would look like. There's a lot of thinking, there's a lot of strategizing, there's a lot of even idea making, right? Very fun character. What is their fear? Different than a wound. I think the fear comes from the wound. A seven's fear is being trapped. They don't want to be limited. They don't want to be in pain. They don't want to, and very specifically, they don't want to get stuck in emotional suffering. Again, there's this dark area inside of themselves they want to avoid. And so their fear is that they will be forced to face emptiness or disappointment, or those what we sometimes call the darker side of the emotions, right? Like sevens think that that it's not that they don't experience those things. I think a lot of literature out there says that, like, no, if you're a seven, I know that you've cried. I know that you feel you can feel the spectrum. You just have this sense that those darker emotions, if you go there, you're going to get stuck there. And so you tend to notice where the exit points are to be able to get out when you do go into the sadness or the dark stuff. Okay. Every character needs a vice. Every character needs like something that you're just like, every time you're like, why are you doing this? Because we love watching a character who goes from being like the saboteur to actually being their own rescuer. And the vice is how we sabotage ourselves. Although I like to think that our Enneagram type often tells us what we adopted in order to adapt. And so I look at all of this as like, we're not bad people, right? This is not like something where we're wrong or something. It's just, this is the operating system. And the more we know the operating system, the more freedom we have, the more agency we have, which is what we're here to do. All right, so the vice for sevens is gluttony. What does that mean? My definition I have currently for sevens. If you are a seven, please leave your thoughts. I would love nothing more to hear about that. But gluttony is, I need the resource, all the resources of opportunity available to me at all times. So if I can keep exploring, if I can keep experiencing and imagining what comes next, I can avoid pain and find the life I'm looking for. So there is this intense, I would say the gluttony is for the metaphorical horizon. It is the constant need to experience newness, to experience what's next, to be thinking about what's next, right? Because it's a hunger to be able to always have the opportunity. I think that a lot of sevens experience like this itch of like, okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? I would say that this is related to that sense of gluttony. Okay, what is the sevens character strategy for how they're going to deal with all of this? Well, they're going to reframe pain into positivity. Gosh darn it. And this is how they can keep seeking new experiences and also reframing difficult experiences through the lens of some sort of positive thing so that they can feel positive, right? They are going to generate options. They are going to be pursuing opportunities. They're going to stay busy and avoid committing to anything that feels restrictive. This does not mean that they won't commit to somebody. If you're somebody who is essentially definitionally freeing, which commitment can provide, is a sense of freedom because it's support. I think it's really important. I'm just going to do a little sidebar. Sevens want support. Sevens are in the head triad. They want to feel supported and resourced. And that often shows up in relationships. And so if you are a seven, please note that I think that relationships and getting support, especially in resources, is really important to you. And that's okay. Okay. So what's their stance? Sevens are in the independence stance, sometimes called assertive, sometimes called aggressive. I like independence, especially for sevens. It is the idea that they have the ability to engage or disengage when they want to. They're not going to be, they are far less affected by what other people think. They're just going to do what they're going to do or not do what they're not going to do. And it's very like internally driven. And so they use that to be able to continue to move towards possibilities, to prove that life is in fact abundant, and to escape limitations, to avoid that discomfort. And again, those emotions that make you feel trapped. So it's movement. It's a The independent stance is a very future focused stance. It is, I'm going to move towards what I want, which is great. Okay, so I think what happens here, so the character has been developed. We've answered all of these questions. All right, well, they have to go into Act 2. The invitation of Act 2 is to go from, I think, the wounded narrative into the healed narrative. And remember, that wounded narrative for the Enneagram 7 is like something I need is missing. And if I stop moving, I'm going to have to feel the emptiness inside. And there's also with that, I think there's something about not getting supported too, which might need to be another video. Or if you're a 7, please tell me what you think about that. The truth, the opposite of the wound, is everything I need is already available in the present moment. You do not have to you don't have to escape the discomfort, especially of those darker emotions, to find joy. True joy happens now, not on the horizon. And I think that that's like any kind of presence sort of practices. So mindfulness, really engaging in what's in front of you and experiencing fully what's in front of you is really important for 7s. And I don't think it's easy. I'm going to say this is the hard work for the 7s. And this is one of the things I really wanted to do with this channel and with the Enneagram information, is that I think that we can have a really hard time understanding each other and therefore judging each other, because what's easy for me might be your hardest task in life. And this is the thing that's hard for 7s. So I see you. I see that it's hard. Also, I believe in you. I think that 7s who move through this transformational journey are so incredible. Like, they bring so much true positivity, because we know that they went through the dark stuff. We know that they went through that problem, the dark space inside of them, and they came out the other side, and we believe that positivity. And we will follow you because you are trustworthy, right? Of guiding us towards that positivity, because it feels very, very real. So again, they're changing. 7s go through the process of changing the narrative of something inside of me is missing, or even too dark to face, to everything I need is already available, and it is in the present moment. And with that, there's not needing to escape limitations or discomfort. Like, your emotion, you have the ability to sit with your emotions and not get stuck, to move through the difficult emotions and not be stuck, to face those difficult truths and not get stuck. And that comes with a sense of self-trust. That's really incredible. But what happens for characters now is that they've gone through Act 2, and now they face the truth. They experience the truth of going through the changing the inner narrative. And for 7s, that would be the virtue of sobriety. And I like thinking about sobriety for 7s as being able to truly savor the present moment. I think a lot of us think that 7s are really, because there's so much joy, because there's so much optimism, because there's so much excitement, that we can sometimes feel like 7s are having as much fun as we are. But I don't think that that's happening all of the time, because 7s are already thinking about the next thing. So for you 7s, you actually get to experience the adventure as it is in its fullness right now. And when you do that, the horizon arrives. And I think that's both kind of scary and exciting. It's a new adventure. And as they have that experience of being in the virtue of savoring the present moment, the shift is that they begin engaging with life from the presence rather than avoidance. They stop chasing endless possibilities, and they learn to find the freedom through the commitment, the depth and appreciation for the moment that they have right now. And this is when like life really starts to feel sweet for sevens. And I understand that it means going through some real dark stuff. Just know that there is a light at the end of that tunnel. And when you get to the other side, the light that you get to experience and show the rest of us is incredible. Also, I'm going to do a video series on this, I think, about how some of the types, when they go through the healing process, there's some backlash that happens because people preferred the version of you that was in the unhealed narrative. And I think that happens for sevens because a lot of people around you probably feel more comfortable with you being the optimistic, joyful person that, is the life of the party vibes. And when you go through that healing process, you kind of let yourself deal with some pain, and other people might not like that as much. And so I understand that there's an added element of difficulty for sevens in this. And I just want to say, I see you. Please find people who want to support you on that journey, who can hold space for you, and also be the person who can choose to be positive when you need to lean into going through your difficult emotions. So I see you. Find your support group. They are out there. And if you are a seven, I would love to hear your thoughts. I love the concept of the transformational journey. I'm also going to be doing deep dives into characters, specific characters of each of the types, and showing how this translates in those characters. So if you have any that you know from books, TV shows, or movies that you feel like are sevens that you think are like, oh yeah, that's me, let me know. I would love to add that to my roster. And I hope to see you in the next video. All right, bye.